So it's later than usual because I had a wedding to go to, but we are going to commence with FPL today coming up next. What's up guys, and welcome to JNO United, bringing the best in football news, entertainment and games. Today we're covering Game Week 9 of FPL and looking forward to Game Week 10 on FPL today. But before we get into that, if you're new around here, make sure to subscribe for football content of all sorts. Smash that thumbs up button for FPL today. I know it's most of you guys' favourite series that I do on this channel. And remember to answer the question of the day. What is your biggest mistake in FPL? Is it missing a deadline? Is it failing to confirm a transfer or confirming a wild card, which is an even bigger mistake? Or is it misusing the chips, which have only been around since last year's FPL? Now, a quick coverage of my game week before we get into the meat and bones of everything. Unfortunately, I went out Friday night, got drunk Friday night, and didn't make my transfer or pick my starting 11 before the deadline. I woke up at like 11:32, 2 minutes too late to make any changes. In some aspects this actually worked in my favour, in some it didn't, but I ended up with 40 points when the average was 42, so not a great game week for me. That ended me on a game week rank just above 2.2 million, and my overall rank is now 325,241st. I'm now on 450 points in total. I'm still in the top 10% of players, which is a plus, but we are just bouncing around between 200,000 and 360,000 odd. I really want to get a good game week in at some point before the Christmas period starts, but it's a struggle at the moment. It is a struggle. Potentially, it might have been better to use my wildcard in Game Week 7 rather than Game Week 3 and 4. But I am happy with a lot of my players. It's just small things I need to keep tinkering at to get this team perfect. And some of my players are getting good underlying stats but not scoring points, which is annoying. As for my classic leagues, it's red arrows all across the board. The most important one being the JNO Classic. Having slowly risen to around 250th, I've dropped 22 places to 272nd. But in the head-to-head leagues, it's green arrows all around, so there's 1 plus from this game week. Nearly all of my points came from defence. We had Carl Walker and Adam Smith start me off really well. First game of the game week, Tottenham versus Bournemouth, 0-0, 2 clean sheets, lovely stuff. Gareth McCauley also got a goal against Liverpool, so 8 points off of Gareth McCauley, great. Then apart from Roberto Firmino, who got an assist, no points anywhere. Sanchez, nothing. Sterling, nothing. Aguero, nothing. Costa, nothing. Just not good enough. And that is why I started off so well and dropped to just below the average. Just one of the players on the dream team would have actually boosted me up, probably up the rankings and well above the average, especially Xherdan Shaqiri, who got 15 points in total with 2 brilliant long range shots. But be wary of him, most of his threat does come from long range, so unless he's getting those in the top bins, he's not likely to keep scoring 2 every game week. The dream team of the week would have scored you 128 points in total, and the players I'm looking at from that dream team of the week are Xherdan Shaqiri. Is this the time when he starts realising the promise that we thought he had last year when he signed for Stoke? He was one of those players that a lot of people thought would be an FPL dream player, and it's just never materialised. So could this be the time when he starts getting the assists and starts hitting some of those long range shots in? He was also very far forward in that Stoke game, so maybe it's time he starts scoring the points. The exact same can be said for Pedro, who managed to get on the score sheet for Chelsea against Man United very quickly. Is it now time that Pedro starts to realise his fantasy football potential? The 3-4-3 could benefit him as well as Eden Hazard. And as usual, you have a Liverpool midfielder in the dream team of the week. This time it went to Sadio Mane, but I do believe now it's starting to become clearer that Coutinho is the standout midfielder you should have in your squad. So we go to star of the week, and I have picked someone from the dream team, but it's not Sadio Mane, it's not Xherdan Shaqiri, it's actually Yohan Cabaye. Coming in at only 5.6 million, he actually had the most shots out of any player in the game week. Didn't think I'd be saying that at any point this season. He scored 1 goal, which was joint second amongst midfielders. He had a total of 8 attempts on goal, 3 of which came from inside the box. 2 of those were on target, that putting him about 4th in the midfield rankings for shots from inside and on target. And minutes per chance, he came first amongst midfielders with 11.9 minutes per chance. Now the likelihood is he's not going to continue that ratio up, but a performance like that from a player with 5.6 million in value is definitely worthy of Star of the Week. And the Fool of the Week is myself. Transfers held, 1. Transfers planned, 1. Was going to bring in Marcus Alonso, who did get points this game week. And if I played 4 at the back, I would have been above the average. I doubt I'd have played 4 at the back, so I probably only lost 2 points, which would have put me on the average. But still, Fool of the Week, me not making sure I had my transfers done before I went out drinking. Now we move on to the hot list, and there is no strikers, purely because there was no striker that I have confidence in with the fixtures coming up and the form they are in moving forward to put on the hot list. So there's 2 midfielders. The first one, Philippe Coutinho. I do believe Liverpool are going to perform well no matter who they play at the moment, and Coutinho is going to be integral to that. And then there's Joe Allen as well. He may not have scored last game week, but he is really far forward, and for the price he's currently at and for the positions he's getting in, I believe he will be good value for money in that Stoke side now the fixtures are becoming easier for them. As for defenders, look at the Bournemouth defence. Clean sheet against Tottenham, they can all score goals, they can all get assists, and they are all between 4.5 and 5 million. So get yourself a Bournemouth defender, pick who you think is going to do the best. I've picked Adam Smith, but Charlie Daniels could do the job as well, as could Lewis Cook. So look at that defence and you could pick yourself up some points. And the goalkeeper, again, not someone from a very solid defensive side, but they are showing that they are dropping back and doing the hard work in defence, and behind him they have a keeper who is on outstanding form at the moment. Tom Heaton has looked good every game I've watched him in, and even if he doesn't get a clean sheet, he gets clean sheet points, and at the moment is the top scoring goalkeeper in FPL. For 4.5, maybe 4.6 million now, you need him in your sides. Looking on to Game Week 10, and the fixtures that really stand out to me as far as points go is the Arsenal-Sunderland game. If Cazorla is past fit, I think he is the key that Arsenal are currently missing, which means they haven't been getting as many chances as they were originally, and I think it's him who can unlock the points in Alexis Sanchez and Theo Walcott. So if he is back, Sunderland have conceded 2 or more goals in 5 fixtures out of 9 so far, and I think Arsenal are definitely capable of getting 2 or more goals against that Sunderland side. Also, Sunderland have failed to score in 4 out of their 9 fixtures, so there could be some clean sheet points for you there as well. And then we have the whipping boys at the moment, Hull City, coming up against Watford. They are going to Watford's home ground, and I believe Troy Deeney and maybe Capoue could come back and get some points, as well as Holebas. He has a threat, and there's quite a few Watford players there that could pop up with a goal or 2. So have a look at the Watford team if you're trying to transfer someone in. And the place where you could lose points, we have Spurs versus Leicester. That could go either way, although I'm moving towards Spurs winning that game. But without Harry Kane, are they going to keep scoring goals? Son looked good at first, but recently they don't seem to have that threat up top. Leicester City, they need to find their rhythm again and start getting goals from Vardy and Mahrez before they are really going to start scoring lots of points. So maybe it's 2 clean sheets here in this game, or a low scoring draw. Maybe Spurs win out, but I don't see many points coming out of that game, and I can see people losing points because of that game. And then we have Southampton versus Chelsea. Chelsea have started to look really good, but Southampton have started to look really good as well. Could be a high scoring game. Don't know where the goals are going to come from in that Chelsea side anymore. Previously, it all looked like it was going to come from Costa, but the last game could come from Hazard now, could come from Pedro, could come from all sorts of places now. So I'm not sure where the goals are coming from that Chelsea side. And the Southampton side are looking good too. Charlie Austin seems to have cemented himself at the top, but he didn't score on the weekend. Redmond has now started to score, but you've got players coming back from fitness like Buffal, so who knows where the points are necessarily coming from in that Southampton side. So my captain choice of the week, and I ummed and ahed about it, looked at Aguero, looked at a lot of other strikers, looked at the fixtures, and I've decided if you are going to try and take my advice on board, I would stick with Philippe Coutinho. I just have more confidence in that Liverpool side as a whole, as well as Coutinho with his form and Liverpool's fixtures. Aguero could score big in game week 10, but I don't have the confidence to come out and say pick him, he will score after the last few game weeks. So my choice is Philippe Coutinho, who has been good consistently, but if you remember from last year, I did not have a good record with Coutinho. Every time I said it was time to pick Coutinho for your sides, he went through a dry patch. So now's probably the time to transfer him out. Differential of the week, and I'm looking at Gylfi Sigurdsson, coming at 7.2 million, only owned by about 3-point-something% of players. He looks integral to any goals that Swansea are going to score. Now, he was played as a false 9, but then he was also dropped back to that number 10 role behind the striker. So he's going to be in one of those two positions, and he is involved in most of the goals that Swansea score. A 42.9% goal involvement rate is nothing to laugh at, and he's coming up against Stoke City, who are starting to look better but didn't have the best start to the season. And Sigurdsson is the type of player that can score against anyone. And the red herring for the week is the Arsenal attack. I just feel like they either are going to score a lot or they're not going to score at all, and I think a lot of that relies on a deeper lying playmaker, the Santi Cazorla role. I'm not sure they have anyone else that can really play it as well as Santi Cazorla can, and I think that unlocks the runs, the space, the passing for that Arsenal side that gets players like Theo Walcott and Alexis Sanchez the goals. So if Cazorla's playing, I may even captain Sanchez, may bring in Walcott, but hopefully I won't be getting drunk before the game week deadline and I will make my transfers in time. Anyway guys, thank you so much for tuning in. I apologise for this episode of FPL Today being late, and also I apologise that there will not be a weekend recap this week purely because I had a wedding to go to yesterday, so I don't think I'm going to have time to cover that. I've been JNO, you guys have been awesome as always, and remember, it's all about the game.